What's going on, traders? It's Mike from CapitalHillFX, and today we have a very important YouTube video for you. My exact trading system, how I become profitable week after week after week. I'm not holding back anything, and I'm showing you the exact trades that I took in my premium membership this past week. I'm not going to go over all the trades because I want to provide a lot of value of how I actually trade my trading system. So we're going to start off on AUDJPY, and this was a trade that I took last week that ended up hitting take profit. So let's take a look. Basically, I just trade bounces off of daily horizontal levels. So what I do is I go on the daily 12-hour time frame and I make sure to identify significant market structure, significant zones in the chart that price could potentially reverse around. So we can see on the daily time frame, I identified a significant daily support zone that price has interacted with in the past. And we can see that we've bounced here previously as support, 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 and support as of right now. We can see every single time that we come to this zone, we have clear intent with direction. We are bouncing or breaking through the zone, right? So every single time that we've come to this zone, we've bounced as support. So that's a very good idea that if the next time we come to this zone, we could potentially bounce yet again. We're just buying at support and selling at resistance. So I just identified this super clear daily support zone. Now I'm just going to replay it back a little bit so we can make it very relative of where it was. Replaying a little bit back, and we can see this is where I analyzed this support zone. And like I said, we've just bounced here multiple times previously, and it is an extreme zone. So it makes sense to mark up these significant support or resistance levels if you're trading bounces off of these zones. So I marked up this zone, and I basically said to myself, okay, if price comes and digs deep into this zone, I will go down to the hourly time frame, and I will identify the price action that is being printed around the significant horizontal level. So let's go actually to the 12-hour time frame. I usually scope from the daily to the 12-hour time frame just to get a better idea of these significant horizontal levels, and I will identify only the significant horizontal levels on the daily 12-hour time frame. So I'm going to fast forward some candles so that we could see live time what I was looking at in the actual time that I placed this trade. So we can see that we pushed a little bit away from the zone, but then we actually came back and pushed full deep into the zone. I'm actually going to replay this last candle so that we could see it on the hourly time frame. Now, it's very important to notice, could you see that we did test this zone, but we tested the top half of the zone? I always say to my premium members and anybody that tries to trade bounces off of daily horizontal levels, make sure you look left to see where price has reacted with around this zone. A lot of people always ask, Mike, where do you want to see price actually interact with the zone? Do you want to see it interact with the top? Do you want to see it interact with the middle, the bottom? And I always say, look left. Make sure you get a better idea of where price has recently reacted with the zone. We can see we've pushed really deep into the zone previously before actually reversing back towards the upside. And even if we go back to this previous rejection point, we could see that we wicked towards the bottom half of the zone before actually reversing back towards the upside. So I make sure to outline a smaller structured zone within the daily zone to get a better idea of where I want to see price interact with. And we can see right now that price is not interacting with this zone, so there would be no trades being taken place if we start rejecting back towards the upside. Because what often happens a lot of times is price comes down to a significant horizontal level, you have a beautiful daily zone marked up, and price just taps the top half of it, and then it starts to show bullish price action. So you're like, screw it, I'm going in for buys because we're starting to form a lot of bullish price action, a bullish engulfing just formed, and I'm just FOMOing in, right? But what ends up happening? Price ends up coming back to the zone, testing the previous lows where we've recently rejected, stopping you out of the trade, and then it goes back towards the upside. This happens all the time. If you're patient enough, you could avoid this happening. So this is exactly what ended up happening. We tested the top half of the zone, and I said to myself, you know what? I'm not going to be placing any trades because it didn't fully test the zone. So we wanted to wait for a deep push into the zone, so we stayed very disciplined and patient. And now we could see what ended up playing out. The first time that we pushed into the zone, and now we're on the hourly time frame, right? Daily 12-hour time frame, we're making sure to mark up the market structure, identify those significant structures in the market where price could potentially reverse at. And then we're going down to the hourly time frame to identify the price action. What ends up happening? Price pushes into the zone, and right when we push into the zone, we have a nice little bullish impulse. Now, I would not be entering after the first bullish impulse. My premium members know I like to wait for multiple rejections around the zone before I'm actually validating it as a support or resistance level. So we could see that we had an initial push away from the zone, but what I would like to see to actually validate that this is going to be support is if price comes back to the previous lows and fails to wipe out the previous lows, and we end up forming like a bullish wick, or a very strong bullish candle closure. That will give me a better idea that we could potentially bounce back towards the upside. And let's see what ended up playing out. So we can see that we're slowly but surely creeping back to this significant support zone. We make another distinct push towards the upside. A lot of people would end up entering right after this because, oh my gosh, we made another bullish impulsive move. We need to FOMO into the trade, right? No, we are staying very strict to our trading criteria. Remember what I just said. I want price to come back to these previous lows and fail to wipe out the lows so that we signify that we're having a difficult time actually wiping out the support zone. So I'm still waiting for price to come and meet the lows. We're not making any emotional trading decisions. But we can see right here, this is what ended up paying out. And I unfortunately did a little bit too quick, but I'll go back to the candle that actually triggered the entry. And we can see right here exactly what I was looking for panned out. We came back, tested the previous lows. We failed to wipe out the lows and we put in a beautiful bullish wick, right? Look at this beautiful bullish wick in the position of the real body near the top of the candle. And this looks like a bullish hammer in my opinion, right? A bullish hammer is characterized as a nice, beautiful bottom heavy wick with the position of the real body near the top of the candle, and we have a bullish candle closure. And we have a pretty strong size of the real body. It's not huge, but it's a modest size of the real body. So we can see that this gives us a good idea that there's a lot of buyers around the significant horizontal level because we tried to wipe out these previous lows, and we just left a nice bullish candle closure. So I ended up entering a buy with my stop loss right below the previous lows, and my take profit at a 1 to 1.5. And then we just play out the next candles, and we can see we end up hitting take profit. Super, super simple buy at a significant support zone. That's all this trade was. Buy at support, sell at resistance. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to analyze a couple different pairs that could potentially play out. We're going to go through all these different currency pairs, and we're going to see what could potentially play out. But first, I want to show that I actually called this trade out, right? I'm not a phony who just says they called the trade out and they don't. I want to do a little sneak peek into my premium analysis channel, and only my premium members get access to this channel. It just shows you live updates of orders that I'm placing in the market and exclusive trading setup. So we could see AUDJPY buy order, right? We don't have it edited. We didn't like screenshot it after the fact. Like this is live time right here. 3/16/10:06 a.m., right? Thursday at 10:06 a.m. I said I just placed a buy order on AUDJPY. We're coming back to retest this major daily zone, and left a huge bullish hammer when we came back to test the previous set of lows. Pretty straightforward buy. And I even set a screenshot, and this is exactly what we just saw, right? Price was pushing into this zone, and we could see that we ended up hitting take profit. I updated it right here. I update all of my trades in this premium analysis. Even if we go up even higher, we could see like on USD CHF, I could go into another trade that we went into, but I'm just going to go through the screenshots really quickly. You could see USD CHF. Let's go back to that trade when I called it. There was a buy order. I placed a buy order on USD CHF. We've tested a major weekly support zone and seem to be showing tons of bullish sensitivity with multiple bullish candle closures and bottom heavy wicks forming. So we could see this is the weekly time frame. We could see this is just a super clear weekly daily support zone that price has interacted with in the past. So it's just likely that price comes into this zone and starts bouncing. That price is going to bounce as support. So when we go down to the hourly time frame, we can see we have a lot of bottom heavy wicks. We can see we have a lot of bullish candle closures beginning to form. We're having a difficult time wiping out the previous lows, and we're forming these nice bullish candle closures. So I end up entering a buy, and then once I update it, we ended up hitting take profit. Beautifully, we came back to retest the previous set of lows, and then we stood strong and we ended up hitting take profit. Just super, super simple, bounces off of daily support zones. And people say you can't trade off of support and resistance. Mike, there's no way you could trade support and resistance. Those are just retail traders, right? Your liquidity. I don't want to hear it. I've been tracking all of my trades live time for the past 3-4 months with my premium members, and we've been profitable for the past 4 months. I think we're up over 30% for the year of 2023. I don't want to hear anybody telling me I can't trade support and resistance because it's been working. Like if you trade simply, it could work. You don't have to have a super complex trading system that you're looking at RSI, you're looking at divergence, you're looking at fundamental data, just look at a couple different things. Market structure and price action. I promise you could trade simply. Just do it, right? Backtest your trading system and really, really go deep into this trading system because it could really be effective. Let's go into some other trading setups that could potentially play out. Again, I'm going to keep it super, super simple. We're starting off on the daily, weekly time frame, and then we'll scope down to the smaller time frames once price actually comes to this zone. So we can see we'll start off on the weekly time frame utilizing that top-down analysis approach on Euro Canadian dollar. I'm just going to clear the drawings to make it much more clear. We can see on the weekly time frame, we do have a significant structure in the market. Remember, starting off on the higher time frames to make sure we identify these significant structures in the zone, in the chart, excuse me. And we can see we have a super clear weekly zone that price has interacted with in the past. as support and resistance. And we can see price did, for the time being, break and close past the significant horizontal level. And it looks like price is actually coming back and test it as potential support. We're going to go down to the daily time frame and sort of see what's playing out. We could see that price did potentially break through the zone, and it looks like price could come back and test it as resistance now. So remember, on the weekly time frame, it looked like price broke and retested the zone as support, and then on the daily time frame, it looks like price actually broke through as resistance, was coming back to test as support, failed as support, and it looks like it could potentially come back as resistance. When we see these types of trading setups where we go to the weekly, daily time frame, and it's like, oh yeah, it's going to test as support, but then when we go to the smaller time frames and it looks like it could test as resistance, I end up not even placing a trade on them, because I want to make sure that my sentiment makes sense on all different time frames. Because if you're looking on the daily time frame and it looks different than something that looks different on the weekly time frame, it becomes a little bit sketchier to place a trade on that exact currency pair. So I'm not going to be placing any trades on Euro Canadian dollar just because it looks like this zone isn't respecting like I thought it would. I could definitely see price just begin to melt towards the downside, considering we have previously around this zone, but we're beginning to dig really deep into this zone. And I'm not quite sure that we'll actually end up respecting it, considering we are creating higher highs and higher lows. And it just looks like if we scope down to the hourly time frame, that not really much bearish sensitivity is taking place. Although it does look like we're having a difficult time actually wiping out these previous set of highs. I'm just not taking any chances. I'm sure there's better trading setups than Euro Canadian dollar. So I'm just going to move past Euro Canadian dollar. CAD CHF, I called this trading setup last week, and a lot of you be like, Mike, stop fibbing. You didn't call this trading setup. And I may have called it honestly in my daily live trading session, so it may be very difficult to actually track it. But if you go into my daily live trading session, I actually provided my daily live trading session to my free community members. If you go back to my free community and you go to the trading setups, go to the trading setups channel. In one of the daily live trading setups, I called this trade live time. Like, it's just super simple, right? We're on the daily time frame. We have a break of a significant support zone. Usually when we break significant structures in the market, we come back and retest it as that opposite structure. So this was a support zone. This was being treated as support. So in this time and place, we were anticipating support, but we broke through it, closed, and it looks like we came back to test it as potential resistance, right? Things that were support, now when they get broken through it, they test as resistance. So we go down to the hourly time frame and we could see a couple different things play out. We could see that we pushed into this zone, but we didn't get enough actually validation that we were respecting as resistance, because remember what I said, I like multiple rejections away from the zone. So initially we had a nice little push into the zone, but I would like to see price come back to the previous set of highs, and then I would look for downside movement. We could see we didn't fully come back to the previous set of highs before actually reversing back towards the downside. But what ended up happening? Price actually came, made another higher low, and then we came back to the previous set of highs and began to form another bearish impulsive move. Unfortunately, I was not at the charts when I saw this actually play out, so I wasn't able to get an entry. But we can see we're already beginning to head back towards the downside. We probably already could have took profits at this previous set of lows. This is probably what? Like 30, 40 pips of movement, which we have taken profits off of 30, 40 pips of movement. So this probably could have ended up in a take profit, but even so, even if I wait for price to come back towards this significant horizontal level, we're having a difficult time wiping out these previous set of highs. I will definitely be looking for potential downside movement on CAD CHF, considering if we go back to the daily 12-hour time frame, we're just sitting around a significant daily structure where price has interacted with in the past. So we're just identifying significant structures where price has reversed in the past. We're going to CHF JPY, right? Super clear daily horizontal level. And what makes a super clear daily horizontal level, right? I'm going to tell you right now. It's 3 pieces of criteria that outline a super significant horizontal level. Number 1, clear intent with direction. Every single time we come to this zone, are we bouncing or breaking through, right? We don't want to see where price consolidates around the zone and just stays around the zone. And then whenever we treat it as resistance, we go towards the downside, or whenever we treat it as support, we go to the upside. We want to see every single time we come to this zone, for the most part, we have a bounce or a breakthrough structure, right? So that's number 1, clear intent with direction. That's probably the most important thing when identifying significant structures in the market. Number 2, how many times have we rejected off of the zone? Is this the first time we're coming to the zone and then we're expecting another bounce off the zone? Or have we bounced off the zone 2, 3, 5 times and then we're expecting another bounce? The more times that we've bounced off the zone, the more significant that zone becomes. So clear intent with direction. multiple rejections away from the zone, and how recent has trading taken place around the zone. Are we trading off a zone that we haven't traded off of 2, 3, 5 years ago? It's not as likely that we're going to trade off of that zone rather than if we've traded off of it 2, 3 weeks ago. So make sure you're trading off of the recent zones, making sure they have clear intent with direction, and make sure that we've bounced off of here multiple times. So CHFJPY, we did have a super clear daily zone that price did try to bounce off of. It looks like we're coming back to the zone. I'm just going to get rid of this zone for the time being. And I only like these 2 super clear zones for right now. So it's okay to have 2 super clear extreme zones and prices just floating through substructure. Just place an alert around these significant horizontal levels. And if price comes to the zone, cool, monitor on the hourly time frame. There's no stress. Every day is not a trading day. Everyone always stresses about not trading for a certain type of day. Sometimes we don't have a trading day every single day. Euro AUD, starting off on the weekly time frame, we identify a super clear weekly resistance level, right? So what were we anticipating? Price to come into this weekly resistance level and look for bearish price action for downside movement. What ended up happening? We pushed into this significant resistance level and we got downside movement. We sold at a support zone and it worked. Who would have thought? Who would have thought selling at a resistance and buying at support would work? Oh my goodness, crazy concept. Anyway, we're coming back to this nice little daily structure in the market. We could see that we've interacted with this as resistance, and we've even bounced here multiple times as support, right? We could see we've had a bounce here on the daily time frame. It looks like we're coming back and bouncing yet again. Let's go down to the hourly time frame and see the price action that's playing out. We are steadily creating lower highs and lower lows. The price action looks good around the significant horizontal level. The reason I wouldn't place a buy around the significant horizontal level is because we're continuously creating lower highs and lower lows, and we had an initial bullish impulse away from this zone, but what did we put in? We put in a new lower high in this preceding downtrend on the hourly time frame. So when we have preceding downtrends coming to a significant daily horizontal level, like we're creating lower highs and lower lows, and then we have a nice little bullish impulse off of the significant horizontal level, but it just put in a new lower high to this preceding downtrend, and we're coming to test the level yet again, but we're showing nice price action. It's not as likely that price is going to end up bouncing here because this preceding downtrend is probably stronger than the buyers at the significant horizontal level. So it's going to eventually probably break through the zone and end up testing as resistance. So that's why I don't like to trade the second, third, fourth bounce off of the significant horizontal level if we are creating downtrend structure. So I'm not going to be trading another bounce on Euro AUD, but what I will be waiting for is a potential break and retest of this significant horizontal level. Remember what I said, if we break through a significant structure in the market, it could potentially test it as that opposite structure. So I'm waiting for price to hook back and test it as resistance before looking for potential downside movement. And then if we come to the significant support zone, we would take profits and then look for buys at this significant horizontal level. We're just trading bounces off of horizontal levels. That's it. We're not trading MACD. We're not trading super complicated institutional trading, smart money concept, liquidity flow, order block manipulation strategy, right? We're just trading bounces off of support and resistance levels. Let's keep it stupid simple. So, and you can see on the right-hand side, I prioritize my trading setups, right? A lot of people may have noticed that from the get. I prioritize every single one of my trading setups. I make sure I have high, medium, and low priority trading setups so that when it actually comes Sunday open, that I'm making sure that I'm analyzing the very, very prioritized trading setups. So Euro NZD, we can see that we've already capitalized on a bounce off of this significant daily support zone. And I hate to be a broken record right now, but I did call this out with my premium members. We could see that we treated this zone as support and resistance in the past. And then if we go to the hourly time frame, we could see that we just had beautiful bullish price action around the significant horizontal level. Remember what I said? We had another distinct push into the zone. What were we left with? A beautiful bottom heavy wick. This is actually a bullish pin bar. And I actually went over the difference between a bullish pin bar and a bullish hammer with my premium members, but I'll go over it again really quickly with my free community. We can see we push really deep into the zone, and this is a bullish pin bar because a bullish pin bar is characterized by a bottom heavy wick, position of the real body near the top of the candle. But do you see how small the body of the real, or the size of the real body is, right? The size of the real body is very small. So this is a very good bullish indicator that price could potentially move back towards the upside. But a bullish hammer has a bigger real body. Again, we're going to go back to AUD JPY really quickly. Look at this candle right here. We can see that we have the size of the real body rather small, but a clear bottom heavy wick, right? Bullish pin bar as clear as day. We go to AUD JPY. Let's take a look at this candle. Near the same candle, bottom heavy wick, position of the real body near the top of the candle. But you can see the size of the real body is a little bit bigger, right? So it's just more of a valid bullish indicator that price could move back towards the upside than if we are printing like a smaller real body, right? So let's go back to Euro NZD where we found it. And we could see that we did have an initial bounce off the significant horizontal level, but you guys know I like multiple rejections away from the zone. So we could see that price made a distinctive push towards the upside. And then we tried to come back towards the downside. And what were we left with? A bottom heavy wick in the position of the real body near the top of the candle. So that's when I said, okay, it's probably a good idea to place a buy. Unfortunately, I was on a TikTok live when I actually saw this play out, and I didn't see it right in the time. So I ended up missing this trading setup. But luckily, some of my premium members were able to capitalize on this exact trading setup, ended up going towards the upside. And that's what I say to a lot of my premium members. Don't wait for me to execute on the trade orders. The premium membership is not for trading signals, right? It's not for you to just follow my trade orders. The reason I provide my trade orders is to give you more educational content and give you a better context of why I'm placing the trades in the market. And it could give you a better idea of trades that you should be placing in the market. So if you're buying a membership just to place the same exact trades as your mentor, you're never going to learn and actually place or make trading decisions on your own. So make sure if you have a mentorship or you have a mentor, don't just copy their trades, because you're actually not unlocking your full potential of what you could do in the markets. Anyway, it looks like we're coming back to this significant daily horizontal level. I'm going to see what price action plays out. But again, if we go back to the hourly time frame, we are steadily creating lower highs and lower lows. I'm most likely not going to be placing buys at this significant horizontal level just because the market structure isn't telling me to do so. GBP Canadian dollar, daily time frame, it looks like we are around a significant daily resistance level. We are coming back to test these previous set of highs. I am going to be looking to see what price does around these previous set of highs. If we go to the weekly time frame, we can just see we're around a super clear weekly daily structure where price has interacted with as support and resistance in the past. I'm just waiting to see, going back to the hourly time frame, to see what price action plays out around these previous set of highs. If we form a lot of bearish price action, aka trying to wipe out the previous highs, we're forming top heavy wicks, position the real body near the bottom of the candle, a bearish engulfing, whatever it may be, I will be looking for potential downside movement. So I'm going to put this in my high priority, and we're going to keep it pushing. USD Canadian dollar, daily time frame. I mean, do we want to just see like the epitome of bounces off of daily horizontal levels, right? We came to this significant resistance level where price has interacted with in the past, formed a lot of bearish price action, pushed towards the downside, could have hit take profit. Then we came to a significant structure again in the market, bounced towards the upside, could have hit take profit. Now it looks like we're coming back down towards a significant support zone, and we could potentially bounce back towards the upside. We're going to go down to the hourly time frame. We could see we're sort of creating lower highs and lower lows. So it's giving me a little skeptical. It's getting me a little skeptical that we're going to end up bouncing here. But on USD Canadian dollar, I'm not going to be looking for anything, right? Just because I would much rather price wipe out this previous level and then look for potential downside movement. So I'm going to be waiting for this exact setup to pan out, a wipeout of these previous or this previous structure, these previous set of lows, and then look for it to hook back for potential resistance. Just super, super clear trading setups, right? Either buy at support, sell at resistance, or a break and retest. AUD, NZD, we're sort of floating through substructure in my subjective opinion. I'm going to be waiting for price to make a more distinctive push towards this significant daily support resistance level before looking for potential upside movement. AUD USD, excuse me. Looks like we tried to come back to this significant horizontal level, tried to bounce, failed, and it looks like we're pushing really deeper into this zone. So I'm actually just going to condense this zone into this zone right here. So I'm going to see if price could actually come back, test this zone. It looks like we already came back and test. I'm going to see the price action that plays out once we actually open in the markets. We can see we sort of have a double top forming, right? Like we've came back, tested the zone. It looks like we pushed with a nice little bearish impulse. If price could come back into the zone and then like show more bearish price action, I would definitely be looking for potential downside movement. I'm not going to go through all of these trading setups just because it would take forever. Not even forever, but I just want to keep this super simple of how I trade and give you a better idea and give you more context that you could trade simply. Like you don't have to have all these indicators, oscillators, Fibonacci retracements, fundamental data. You could keep things stupid simple and not overwhelm yourself. I found that's the best way to sustainably trade the markets. So just trade bounces off of daily horizontal levels. If you think that this makes sense, backtest the trading system. Go to a previous YouTube video of mine of going through backtesting the metrics that you need, because you could practically trade bounces off of daily horizontal levels if you actually understand market structure and price action. And you will do that by backtesting your trading system. I love you all. Thank you so much for the support. It means the world to me. And I'll see you guys on the next one. Cheers.